That Geo Prism does not have throttle sounds calibrated by the Hans Zimmer.
No, it doesn't. No, Interstellar is actually my favorite movie.
How could it not be?
Is it really?
Interstellar is my favorite movie.
It also gives me Dune vibes. Do you like Dune?
I've never seen Dune.
Really?
I just know about the popcorn buckets.
Yeah.
There's a big statement.
Okay.
Here it comes. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Okay, I'm ready. No, we're all waiting.
This is the best all-around EV that I think you can buy right now.
That she talks to
Isn't that the craziest thing? He's like in charge of other people.
To get like their needs incorporated as well.
He thinks he can put on a tie-dye shirt and not feel corporate. We see Truett run. Oh, he's high-stepping.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe
No.
he's
I
not
mean
corporate. I don't know.
they should own it.
Oh, just out of frame. There we go. Walking back now. Walking back now. Welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt.
And my name is Paulo, and we just spent a week with BMW's iX.
It is one of the best all-around EVs that money can buy, and for 2026, it got a facelift, so I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about it.
And then we're going to get behind the wheel and talk about our standouts for the week.
And make sure you stay tuned, because we did have some time with our friend TopherDrives to get some first drive impressions at the Mama Spring Rally earlier this year. Let's get into it. And you guys already know, before we get started on the main event, we're gonna zoom in on the funky odds and ends. The first thing we'll talk about is actually having to do with this grille. Now, it's difficult to relay on camera, but it's covered in kind of like a gel or film. And the idea here is that exposed to direct sunlight, it's gonna heat up the grille. So if you get a scratch in this area, it will kind of heal itself with that gel or kind of film coating. That is pretty cool. I'd love to see that all over the body of the car. So you basically have an impenetrable, impervious car, but that is kind of cool. And I will admit, this one's a bit of a gimmick and I did fall for it, but I do like the crystal controls for your seat controls here, as well as your drive selector, your volume toggle, and your center iDrive wheel. And the light refracts coming off of that center wheel and kind of disco balls and spectral light all across the cabin. It just feels kind of cool. Another thing I absolutely love, it's a small thing, but vertical holder for your phone right here. There's also a little pass-through down here, so if you want to run cords down to your USB-Cs, you can do that. And not only that, the passenger can do it too. My wife loved that on our road trip up to the cabin this weekend. And since this is a BMW EV, you do have the iconic sounds designed by Hans Zimmer, so all of your different drive modes, more or less, have different sounds accompanied with them. Efficient is completely quiet, and of course you can control all this stuff and turn it off if you don't want. And our test car is missing the 30-speaker Bowers and Wilkins system, but even this Harman Kardon system is really, really good. It fills up the cabin really nice, so that Bowers system is incredible, but this Harman system also very, very good. And in EVs, we're used to doing frunk tests, but the hood itself on the iX doesn't open, but this roundel does. You push that, and that is where you put in your washer fluid. And you see this camera right here, it's actually not for watching rear passengers, it's for something a little bit more Gen Z, a little bit more social media. It's an interior camera so you can take selfies. You can trigger it with just a smile. So if I look up and smile at this thing, it's gonna trigger. It'll also do a self-timer and it'll take burst mode. Now, I ultimately love this car, but there's one thing that I think it's missing that we had in the i7 and some of the other modern BMWs, and you don't have a boost paddle. Now, the boost paddle is nice, especially for EVs, because most of the time I'm riding around in efficient mode. But every once in a while, I want to feel the power and feel the torque. And so without having to go all the way down into my modes and then go into sport, I can pull the boost pedal and then deploy all of the power available for like 10 seconds. I do think the iX could use with a boost pedal. And you've probably seen this on other BMW EVs. You've got Air Console games, and what this allows you to do is play games on this screen through your phone. So the idea here is if you're charging and it's taking forever, you can entertain yourself by playing a bunch of games. And a few years ago, BMW went to different kind of layout for modes. It's not quite as simple as an eco, a normal, a comfort, and a sport. You've got personal, which you can totally customize, sport, efficient, that's pretty normal. But then you've got expressive, which totally changes the lighting and the theme. And I hope you can hear that. It's one of my favorites. It's very dramatic when you get on throttle. Relax basically sounds like you're getting a massage, and then you've got digital art and then a completely silent mode, which is nice. But the interesting thing is, in efficient mode, you've got an activate maximum range button. And what this is going to do is kill everything that's not necessary to make sure you eke out as much range as possible. It kills the climate control, kills your heated and cooled seat to get you home, presumably. All right, with all those little odds and ends covered, let's zoom back out and talk about what this is and what it competes against. Now, this is kind of the flagship EV for BMW, the iX. It's not the iX3 or the iX5 or iX7, it's just the iX. It's built on a totally carbon, we'll get to that. But its main competitors are things like the Q8 e-tron from Audi, the Lyriq from Cadillac, Volvo's new EX90, the Rivian R1S that we were kind of in earlier this year, that could kind of be perceived as a competitor, and maybe even the Lucid Gravity, although I believe that has 3 rows, so a little bit different, but that's kind of what this thing competes against. And 2026 is actually a refresh year for the iX. We've got new styling at the front, we've got new wheel options, we've got new battery and powertrain options, and we have new interior updates specifically for our M Sport, and we're going to cover all that through the course of this video. The first of which we're going to cover is the motors and performance. Now, you get dual motor all-wheel drive as standard for every single iX. We have the entry 45, which gets you dual motors and 402 horsepower and 0 to 60 in just under 5 seconds. Over 400 horsepower and 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds certainly seems like enough. But if you want to go up to the 60, you'll get 536 horsepower and 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds. And then the top dog, the M70, is going to get you 650 horsepower in boost mode. It's 610 otherwise. And that's going to get you 0 to 60 in almost 3.5 seconds. So speed is not a problem for the iX, regardless of trim, really. But since this is an EV, it's not all about performance. It's all about battery and range. Now, there's 3 different flavors that we talked about, the 45, the 60, and the M70. They all get kind of different specs. Now, the 45 is the one that we have here. It's rated for about 312 miles out of the 96 kilowatt hour battery. That's the usable size, by the way. However, we did a Lakeshore Loop fuel economy test, and that came back with 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour in the real world, which translates to that 96 kilowatt hour usable battery pack to 375 miles. That's pretty good for normal around town driving. But we also know that EVs don't generally like the highway, so we usually do our 70-mile-an-hour highway test. It's about 50 miles locked in at 75 on the cruise, and this thing came back with 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour, which translates to an effective range on the highway of 298 miles. That is pretty close to what the EPA says you're going to get, so that's really impressive, that real-world highway range. And we took this thing up to my cabin this weekend, and here's how that went. Okay, we're going to set off on our cottage road trip. It's about 125 miles away. We're leaving with a full charge. It's showing about 379 miles. We're going to go more on percentage, and we'll see how we do. Okay, so it's projecting that we get there with 58% battery. All right, we've made it to the cottage. I forgot to hit the reset individual until we were almost on the highway, but we've done about 125 miles, averaged 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour, and took 41% out of the battery. So we'll see how we do on the way home. Okay, so we're headed back home because there's like historic flooding in Milwaukee. So same metrics as before, 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. We got 59%. I thought range anxiety was the only anxiety I was gonna have on the way home, but we'll see how it goes. All right, final tally. We're turning onto our street now, 16% left in the battery. Overall average fuel economy, oh, it just went up, 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. That is not too bad. That is not too bad, especially we had a bunch of headwind and storms on the way home. So pretty impressed with this thing. So 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour does translate to over 300 miles of road trip range. That is pretty incredible, I have to say. Now, like I mentioned, the 45 is what we have, and it's the smallest battery that you can get. You can go up to the 60, which gets you about 364 miles of range out of a 110 kilowatt hour usable battery pack. So about 15 more kilowatt hours from that battery. Now, the M70 uses the same 110 usable kilowatt hour battery, and that's good for about 303 miles. So it's a little bit less, obviously, than the 60, probably due to larger tires and just more powerful motors and that sort of thing. But like I said, what we experienced this week and what a lot of people on the forums are saying is this iX pretty consistently outperforms the estimates. So I'm very impressed with the actual real world range on this thing. When you ultimately do need to charge this thing, it is still located on the rear passenger side, which I do kind of like. It works for my garage pretty well. You've got a cover for your AC or your level 2. We've been using this for our Emporia all week, but if you do need to DC fast charge, this 45 with the smaller battery will charge at 175 kilowatts. It's not the fastest charger out there, but it does seem to work pretty well, and with the range that you get, maybe it's not that big a deal. But if you do go for the larger battery in the 60 or the M70 version of the iX, that'll charge a little bit faster at 195 kilowatts. And as of now, I don't believe you can charge your BMW at a Tesla supercharger, but there's rumor that you'll be able to do that later this year. So stay tuned. We're in Sport in the iX. Ooh. I mean, it certainly doesn't feel like I need to go up to more power. I'm still doing 0 to 60 in like under 5 seconds, which is perfectly fine, especially in the base powertrain. The reason that I would go up to the iX xDrive 60 or the 60 is the bigger battery. I would get like 30 more miles of range. No more than 30 because it's 15 times 3. So I get like 45 more miles of range on the same efficiency. Now, obviously that varies with wheels and tires and that sort of thing, but I want to talk about how this drives behind the wheel because it is fabulous behind the wheel. Now, we have on our iX45, our tester here, we've got the dynamic handling package. It's $1,600, and it is the easiest $1,600 you will spend on this car. You get rear steer, which Paula was gushing about all week, and you get an adaptive air ride in the rear. And the ride is sublime. It goes into a corner better than most EVs, even at the size here, and it is just so poised. Now, we do have a more M-oriented tire on here, so we've got a little bit more grip and that sort of thing, but the sophistication from the damping profile is unbelievable. It changes personalities based on your drive modes, which is exactly what I'm looking for from it, but it is just so unbelievably quiet in here. It is unbelievably smooth from not only a damping profile, but also a powertrain and power deployment profile. It's just so buttery. There is not a rough edge on this thing anywhere. Now, obviously, if you go up to something like the M70, you'll stiffen things up and things will be a little bit more reactive. But here on the 45, and I'm imagining on the 60 as well, it is just a sublime luxury car. The steering makes sense. There's no deadness on center. I mean, there's not a huge amount of feel or feedback coming through the wheel, but that's modern steering. But everything in here, every single thing that I do to control the car, throttle, brake, steering, feels so organic in a way that so many other EVs miss. And one thing, and this is not having to do with the driving experience, but just like a human experience sitting behind the wheel here. We talked about this kind of floating center bridge here. It's far enough away that I don't hit my knee, or I can't rest my right knee on anything, which is kind of nice because subconsciously it's making me feel like I've got so much room. And with the flat floor up front, I do feel like I have so much room up here. The dash is low, the visibility is epic. And then over here on the left-hand side, this is where the magic happens. I can rest my left knee up against this padded kind of textile, almost like right under the speaker grille. And it's just nice. It's just that small little thing that they thought of. They're like, oh, somebody's gonna rest their knee here. Why don't we make it super luxe for them to rest their knee on this door? I could keep going, but ultimately the 30,000 foot view is pretty much everything behind the wheel. Pretty incredible in the iX. And as we touch on styling, that's probably the most hot button topic that we'll talk about in today's video. But like I said, 2026 represents a facelift year for this car. And our tester here is draped in dune gray metallic, which I do think is a fairly interesting color. Paulo certainly loves it, and we'll talk more about that later. But you do have a new running light design, and you've got a new illuminated grille and pattern, part of your executive package. And you've got a totally reworked lower fascia. Ultimately, the face is much cleaner and I think much better looking than it was last year. It still looks like an iX though. It still looks pretty, let's call it recognizable. Around the side though, you do have wheels ranging from 21 to 23 inches. Our M Sport car here has the 22-inch M wheels. They're about $1,000, and I think they fit the wheel wells nicely. It looks pretty cool. Now from the profile, you can see that this thing is actually about X5 size. I believe it's pretty much bang on within an inch in terms of length from the X5, and it's got a fairly conventional SUV shape. You've got recessed door handles for aero, and you've got an iX logo for your D-pillar. You give it a little bit of an Easter egg or a little bit of spice. And the rear end looks largely the same, but you do get an updated lower bumper. So personally, I think this looks a lot better than it did last year, but leave it down in the comments what you think of the updated styling. Now we will check out the cargo area, but I will remind you that you don't have any frunk storage, so it's all back here. We do have a power tailgate, of course, and keep an eye on the taillights. They're gonna completely go away, but you need to legally have lights on the back of the car, which is why we have these back here. Check out this carbon fiber weave. That is pretty wild. Now the space itself is actually pretty decent. We're looking at about 35 cubic feet of space. Obviously your X5 is going to be a bit bigger, but this is about the space that I have in the back seat, or in the trunk rather, of my RAV4, something like a CRV, that class of vehicle, which is actually pretty good for an EV. We also have some additional storage underneath the floor for your mobile charger and that sort of thing. We've got the strap that I always like to see in the back. We've got some controls to drop the rear seats. We've got a grocery bag hanger and a 12 volt back here. It would be nice to see a household outlet back here, but still not bad. When I do fold the seats down, which fold nice and gracefully, they never catch on the front seats, they're far enough away, you're looking at about 78 cubic feet of space, and that's proper big. We got everything in the back for our weekend at the lake this weekend. My bike, my wakeboard, our paddleboard, and everything else that went along with it. So pretty practical trunk in the iX. Also, if you wanted to tow with your iX, it's gonna top out at 3,500 pounds. We'll move up the cabin to talk about the rear seats. Of course, they electronically release. I will say, one thing I noticed about the rear door, or the rear window rather, it only goes down about halfway and then it stops. So, you know, having our dogs in the back seat, they couldn't really get their little faces out the window. But either way, we do have some ambient lighting up here, padded leather, padded fabric, and kind of speaker grille covering, very nice electronic release. Very big door storage down here for our bigger water bottles. We love to see that. And I'm gonna talk about the seating position. I'm 6'1", and I'm gonna pop in and just show you where I'm sitting here. Now, this is my wife in like lounge mode, so I actually have more space behind myself at 6'1", but I still have plenty of knee room, even more than I would have in the back of an X5. Headroom, even with our big $2,600 optional electrochromically frosting panoramic roof, I still have plenty of headroom. Now, a couple features that you can get here that our tester doesn't have. You can get 4 zones of climate, so another zone for each of the rear seats, and then you can get heated rear seats back here. We do have vents back here, and we do have some chargers back here, and we have an iPad mount kind of thing on the back of our front seats, which is quite nice. We've also got map pockets, and we have a really nice back seat, but we're not getting those things. But again, I want to draw your attention to this kind of two-tone like Alcantara and Sensitech with the M striping all the way down the seat. Really, really cool. But the thing that strikes me sitting back here is the cushioning, the padding is really, really comfortable, and I feel like I'm sitting nice and low, which is not a feeling I usually get in the rear seats or really anywhere in an EV. It feels like I'm sitting nice and low. I'm part of the car, I'm part of the experience, and it's just nice and comfortable. I can cross my feet back here. It's a nice spot in the back of the iX here. And then as we make our way up to the front seats, we'll talk about comfort up here. Again, shout out to these crystal seat controls, very, very cool. Also, we've got 2-level memory over here and a button to control additional adjustments more than just tilt and recline and that sort of thing, like your massage that you have on these M Sport bucket seats here with the Sensitech and the Alcantara. Again, love the detailing with the M striping down the center and then the Alcantara bolsters. These M seats are certainly more bolstered than the really, really flat seats that we had in the previous years, so I really, really like these seats. Also, this little cutout here is more recessed into the seat, so it's not right up against the back of your neck or the back of your head and kind of scraping against there. This is a thoughtful little touch for the updated 2026, so I do like that. Now, our seats here, they're 3-level heated. They are not 3-level cooled, but we still do have massage. You can get 3-level cooled, just not in this spec right here. You also do have a heated steering wheel. It does not come with this bug. Go away. But overall, the seats here in the front, interestingly, because I said in the back that they do feel like they sit nice and low, the seats in the front here do feel like they're sitting about an inch and a half, a little bit higher than I might want to be, but ultimately it's something that you get used to in the matter of hours, and it just ends up being really comfortable, especially when you got your massage going. And then just touching on the cabin experience as a whole here in the iX, I'm really, really impressed because they've done something that no one else seems to be able to pull off, and they've got a minimal looking interior, a very clean, very modern design, but they haven't given up traditional kind of tactile engagements. I still have a knob in my vent to control my climate control vents. I still have a physical release for my glove box. I still have mirror controls on the door over here, and all the stuff that I'm used to using, I still have it here in the iX, and I so appreciate that. And then when it comes to the materials and the fit and finish, it's built, it's put together impeccably well. There's not been a squeak or rattle the entire time, and we've put hundreds of miles on this car this week. And all the materials from the Alcantara to the Sensitech in the seats is really, really pretty nice. Your center armrest here is really, really nice in Alcantara. Those crystal controls that I talked about, and even some of the storage in here comes together to be maybe a little bit more interesting. This center console area, I've got my humongous water bottle in here for demonstration. That's not ideal, but every other water bottle I have fits perfectly down there. You've got your wireless charger down there, and you have huge door pockets over there, which actually I've been using a lot more this week because this water bottle doesn't fit under here perfectly well. But I do love this vertical stand for your phone here and the one in the door for your passenger. So overall, they've managed to make a very minimal, very upscale feeling interior look great while also remain ergonomic and usable. And then when we zoom in on tech, it's basically everything you've come to expect from BMW. Now we don't have a head-up display just on our tester, just a weird thing, but we do have a fully digital cluster here. We've got this gear icon and I can control everything that I could possibly want to see on this thing, including, where is it? Aha! Our augmented reality when you use the navigation, which is great at route planning, by the way. It's very accurate and it's predicting of what range you're going to end up with wherever you go. So the native navigation system works really well. But when you use it in tandem with your center cluster here, it's got a front-facing camera and kind of shows you exactly where on the road you need to turn, so you'll never miss a turn. Really, really nice. Over here, it's your nice big kind of curved threaded screen. Again, very clean design. I know some people don't like the fact that it seems like tacked on, but I think they've executed it pretty well. I've not got a single problem with interacting with this screen. Everything is pretty responsive. The graphics are sharp. Everything works really well. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, all of the apps and things that we showed you before with Spotify and YouTube. I've even got National Park Service, which is just kind of funny. It all works really well. You've got your drive recorder that uses the 360 cameras in the car to record any incidents so you're not liable if somebody crashes into you. You throw your crystal reverse shifter up, and then you've got your 360 cameras. And we've got our 3D view, which of course we have to demonstrate because that's the law when you do BMW reviews. And we've got a really nice backup assistant that helped me get out of a parking spot at Costco, which I didn't need to, but I wanted to use it because it's cool. So overall, the tech suite that you get here in this iX is just like every other tech suite that you get in every other BMW, which is to say, really, really good. But I do want to take a second to shout out the driver assist suite here. We've got our Drive Pilot Pro with Assist Plus. So basically when these go green, you can take your hands off the wheel. It's going to drive for you up to 85 miles an hour. You can change lanes with just the flick of the turn signal. It works really, really well. Even in some of the rain on the way home here, it worked really, really well. And it makes small kind of progressive adjustments to steering and changes of speed. So it was pretty safe to actually use in the rain. It also has the feature where if you're coming up on something like a semi and it's going slower than you, the car will actually recommend that you pop out into the left lane, and then you can confirm just by looking at that mirror. And then the eyeball watcher is going to register that you did that and then automatically move you over into that lane. And then when the overtake is done, it'll recommend a lane change back over into the right lane. You look at that mirror and then boom, it moves you back over. And it does so in a very natural and safe feeling way. So I'm very, very impressed. I've got nothing but good things to say about the driver assistance suite here in the iX. And the last thing that we'll cover before we get back with Paulo and go for a bit of a drive is the price. Now, remember, there's 3 different trims. Our 45 here starts at $75,150. If you go up to the bigger battery and more powerful 60, it starts at $88,500. And if you want the full power, full speed M experience, the M70, it starts at $111,500. Now, as tested, our 45 here is pretty loaded up to $92,775. Now, that's a lot of money, but you're getting an unbelievable amount of car here. So let's get with Paulo and talk a little bit more about that and some of the pros and cons this week. Hey guys, real quick, Matt here. Just wanted to say I hope you've been enjoying the video. If you have, would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it does go a long way in helping us get access to cars sooner and get access to manufacturer engineers so we can get more information on the cars and get you more information so you can make better decisions. So would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe, like, comment, the whole YouTube thing. But with that, let's get back to the video. 3, 2, 1. Reasonably fast.
Yeah, it is quick.
I mean, super
It's
fast.
actually pretty quick. But what I like to do is go into expressive mode.
Yes, we did this earlier.
Ready?
Yeah, it's so loud.
The sense of occasion that you get on throttle here.
I mean, would you drive
Hans
around
did
with
not
that
disappoint.
all the time though?
No.
Like
I do when I have these.
Really?
It's also massaging me now.
yeah.
Yes.
But
Same.
when I have these, yeah, I drive around in expressive.
But do you keep it on this volume too? Because it's pretty loud.
We played with this on the i7 quite a bit, and it is pretty funky.
Yeah.
But welcome to Downshift. We have our new friend. Well, it's not new. Not new friend.
Yeah.
Our old friend, but new to the channel. This is Topher of TopherDrives, so welcome.
Greetings. Usually the camera is on my face, not on the windshield, so this is
it's a totally new perspective.
Yeah.
This might be the
So
first
Topher-
time some people see you.
I know, face
I feel
reveal.
like that's what Toph looks like.
Face reveal here on a separate channel. So Toph knows all about this car, and he's going to tell us about all the tech specs.
What I'll tell you is I have actually driven this car, but it was a pre-production that was totally camouflaged in South Carolina at Test Fest. So
I could tell you a little bit about it.
I have some early impressions, but I'm going to hand it over to Paulo because he actually knows the numbers on this car.
Okay, and then we'll flip to Toph for driving impressions.
Okay, good.
408 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. An incredible soundtrack in this expressive mode we're in. 0 to 60 in 5.1. It's actually pretty light. I think I said 5,500 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5,600 pounds just about.
Yeah.
I mean, for an EV
It's only
this
3
size,
tons.
it's all carbon body basically. So if you're gonna get in a crash, then it's gonna be a little expensive. Acoustic warning off.
Hey Toph, maybe you can buy this car in front of us. What is this, like a...
It's a Chevy Cavalier.
It's a Geo Prism.
Or Geo Prism.
I would drive a Geo Prism.
Okay, so this iX.
I think, hold on, on the
Yes.
topic of the Geo Prism.
Okay, I apologize.
I bet this weighs as much as 3 of those.
Yeah, probably.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
Certainly.
But that Geo Prism does not have throttle sounds calibrated by the Hans Zimmer.
No, it doesn't. No, Interstellar is actually my favorite movie.
How could it not be?
Is it really?
Interstellar is my favorite movie.
It also gives me Dune vibes. Do you like Dune?
I've never seen Dune.
Really?
I just know about the popcorn buckets.
The what?
The Dune.
I don't know about that.
Flashlights?
What? Wait,
Doesn't
what?
even know.
No, I don't.
Dude doesn't even know.
Is this like a pop culture
This
thing?
is
He's got
something
it.
that we'll talk about off camera.
Okay. I don't know about it.
No, Interstellar is one of the best films probably ever made. My wife does not appreciate it though because I did make her watch it on New Year's Eve one year when we were at the apartment.
Yeah, but
I
that
did not
sounds
tell her that it was 3 hours long plus,
Yeah, hell
yeah.
and she had not mentally or emotionally accounted for that.
That's understandable.
Yes. So I will say,
Driving impression.
I really do like this car.
Yeah, it's good.
This is my first time in the new facelift, but in the pre-facelift, it's kind of offensive to the eye, although that's very subjective.
Yeah.
But really, that's my biggest issue with it. The rest
Well-
of it is very good.
We always say that we'd rather have a car make a statement than be boring.
Yes.
And while this is
Agree.
it's a bit ugly, but it makes a statement. So no one's ever going to mistake you for anybody else. And as far as driving it goes, BMW EVs are just so well calibrated. Oh, it thinks I'm talking to it. BMW EVs are so well calibrated. Throttle response, the regen braking.
Unfortunately, I didn't understand
The
that.
speech
okay.
assist.
Try again.
Yeah.
No,
Cancel.
I do tend to agree.
Okay.
I think BMW, Hyundai, and Kia are operating at the high level, the sharp end of the stick in terms of EV development. The way that they've integrated, or the way that they've calibrated, like throttle response, the braking feels pretty linear and like normal. It does feel more organic than a lot of the other EVs that we drive, and the driving composition. Please shut up.
Cancel.
Please.
Cancel. Get it? There we go. Okay.
Good?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So it does feel more sussed out than a lot of the other competitors.
Yeah, ride quality is really nice. It's like a nice soft plush feel, but it's not like wallowy and floaty, so really comfortable ride quality.
Yeah, it carries its weight well, I feel like.
It does, yeah. I mean, you can feel the weight for sure, but
Yeah.
it's not. I'm trying to get it to not be massaging me anymore, and I don't know how to work anything.
I think it's this button here. And then there. Oh, I'm stuck with the seatbelt. I'm gonna turn yours off. Massage. Off. Look at that. Look at that.
So one thing I don't like about these drive modes. Always look both ways for the train here.
Top tip.
Yeah,
Appreciate
this
the
is
safety.
probably in like a weight category where that's required.
Right.
The GVWR doesn't need.
Yeah.
Doesn't qualify for crash testing.
I don't like that the drive modes are so like involved to the point of things outside of throttle response and steering and suspension. Like
massage.
yeah, like certain
No, that's true though, because
Yeah.
when we were in the i7, like
Yeah,
relax, like
it,
puts
like,
the
shuts
sunroof
the
in.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
well this does that too. This has relax mode.
Yeah. But this doesn't have an actual sunroof shade.
No.
Oh, it doesn't.
Can you
Okay.
alter
But now
how
it's
much...
massaging me
I
again.
wonder if it's the electrochromic thing.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So I think in relax mode it turned it on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a like a very
This is exactly what it's.
serene.
This is exactly what it sounded like the last time I got a massage.
Yeah.
So overall, the iX, it's a pretty solid. No,
show your
all jokes
wristbands.
all jokes aside,
He wasn't even looking last
the
time.
BMW iX is an incredibly complete EV. It's got about 312 miles of range in its base 45 trim. You can go up to the M70. It's going to be just under about 300 miles thereabouts, and as far as I can tell, and this has been corroborated by other ownership experiences, it's a pretty true to form range. Like, it's not an inflated estimate. This is pretty true to what you're going to get in the real world, assuming that you're not driving at 80 miles an hour into a headwind on the highway all the time in sub-freezing temperatures. So I would say this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And this makes a lot of sense if you have a house and can charge at your house and have a commute from anywhere from 50 to even 100 miles in a day. This would be a great option for you. Any final thoughts, Tofito?
Yeah, I like petting the center console. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
petting
suede.
it.
Not the final thoughts we were looking for, but I appreciate you. No, thank you to TopherDrives for
Go
being
check out
here.
his channel. We'll
Make sure you
link
check it out.
in the description.
It's in the description below, and we'll hope to see him again next year at the rally.
Yes.
You did great.
Thanks.
You're a star.
Thank you. He's a star.
That was pretty funny doing like a three-way.
I kept running.
It was like,
We're still rolling, man.
no, sorry.
Wait to cut the camera.
Is this about the Dune stuff? Am I getting it right?
Yeah.
Dude really brought up the
Dune popcorn.
popcorn flashlight bucket.
I didn't know about that.
Fucking
That's
wild.
new to me. I think we could do better. Do you think you would do better?
I think there's room to improve. I was ready to rest on our laurels, but I think we can and we
also
should
wanna
shoot for excellence.
like.
Oh! I have to secure my water bottle because the cup holders don't make any sense, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Already talking about the.
I will say, I really, really like this car. I'm gonna say a lot of nice things, and when you say nice things about BMWs on the internet, you get accused of bias and glazing.
Yes.
So I'm gonna hold my thoughts in until we cover your pros and cons. So why don't you have you go first?
Yeah, I guess I didn't necessarily have a lot of pros and cons. I just had interesting things that stuck out to me this week.
Hit me with some interesting things then.
I feel like the looks are a little bit subjective, but I personally really like the look of this thing, and this color especially. Dune metallic silver.
Dune gray metallic.
Dune gray metallic.
It's, I mean, you have more to say on the styling?
I think it looks really good. And I like some of the parts that they refreshed this year, like the rear diffuser.
Yes.
The front fascia looks really good.
Yes.
And the different wheel options. I think they did a nice job.
Yeah. It's not conventionally handsome like myself, but it is certainly better looking than it was in 2025. I think the styling updates that they made for this 2026 LCI with the cleaner grille design without the graduating hex pattern, and they've cleaned up the front fascia, especially in the lower fascia, and some of the wheel options make a lot more sense. And I think it certainly looks significantly better. Like the sum of its parts, the sum of the changes is a larger improvement than each individual change. So I certainly like it a lot more now from a styling perspective than I did last year.
Yeah, no, I really like it. And I think the color makes a huge difference, and I think it wears this color really well. Behind the wheel, it's just such an easy driving experience. The ride is fantastic. The noise isolation is fantastic. The rear steer is really good.
You're preaching now.
I'm a sucker for rear steer. You know
We know this. We know this to be true.
Air suspension in the back. It just rides really well. It's easy. The driver assist features, although we had like kind of different experiences, the driver assist features when they were working for me, the Pro, was excellent. My only issue, it was very intermittent. And I couldn't really pin down the reason. I'd be on the exact same highway. It didn't change. It was freshly paved concrete with freshly paved lines. It would pop on and off. But when it worked, it was fantastic. I'd say, up there with like Super Cruise and Blue Cruise. Yeah. You had a way better experience than I did.
Yeah, no, I spent a lot of seat time in this, going up to the cottage and back, and going up 250 miles just for the road trip this weekend. Like, even in the storms on the way back, it only asked me to put my hand on the wheel on the highway like a couple times. And even when it did, like, it was still engaged with steer assist. Mm-hmm. Like, it never cut out with steer assist. So like, I don't know if it's quite as good as like a Super Cruise or maybe a Blue Cruise, but it's very, very good. This Drive Pilot Pro with this Assist Plus, very, very good. I love the system. I also love the fact that like it'll suggest overtakes and you can confirm them by looking at the requisite mirror. Just kind of fun. But no, it works really, really well. The whole tech suite works really well. This is an illustration that you can put CarPlay in an EV. Like, it's okay, Cadillac.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another good like segue. I just appreciate that they didn't go too minimalistic here, that they have functional buttons, and they weren't afraid to put buttons in an EV. You have a start-stop button, you have a gear selector, you have a volume knob, you have controls on your vents, like
vent toggles,
things that just make sense. And
a glove box release button, not in the screen, but a button.
So I really appreciate that. I think that the tech here is really nice. It's all mainly usable. Ergonomics are really good outside of maybe the water bottle.
Except for the cup holder. Can I do my rant now?
Yeah,
let me do it. This is a comically large water bottle. I know this, you know this, the Europeans certainly know this, but this is what I have because I'm a chronically hydrated individual. And like this only affects this bottle. Like my other thermo flasks fit totally fine in these cup holders, but for demonstration, like this just doesn't fit quite flat because you got this flying bridge that kind of butts out. So then I end up putting it over here, but then you got all this horsepower. So the second that you floor it, which you tend to do, it's flying back. See? So like, small nitpick, but that's my use case.
Yeah.
So the cup holder, I have 3 cons, that's one of them.
The last thing, I guess the last few things that I'll mention before we'll get to your other cons and let you wrap it up, but I think that the Harman Kardon that we have here is really, really good. They offer a more premium Wilkins and Bauer system.
Wilkins and Bauer.
Bauer and Wilkins?
There we go.
I'm so dyslexic.
Go ahead. Stay at it, King. You got this.
It's significantly more expensive.
Yeah.
And maybe the purists would say that it's worth it, but I think for you and I, like this honestly really is top 5 that like I've heard. Yeah. It does a really nice job. Do you want me on the highway?
Go ahead, you can do it. Okay. I'm emotionally prepared to be on the highway.
Freaked out
right now.
last time that I did this.
No, I think the Harman system is still very good. The Bauer system is incredible, but this is still really good. So like personally, I don't have a super well-trained ear. I'm not like a crazy audiophile. I'm fine with the Harman. Yep. I'm fine with the Harmy Carmy.
Yeah, last few things I'll just mention. Really good space in the front seats, the rear seats, headroom, knee room, leg room.
Does it all.
Trunk's a little bit odd. I also really like how you can frost your panel roof if you want to block out some of the sun. But
keeps the heat out, but still lets a little sun in.
Right, yeah. It's extremely efficient. It was just a really pleasant week. I really enjoyed this thing a lot more than I thought I would. And I think it'll kind of tie in nicely with the bow that you're going to wrap on it. But I'll let you get to your other 2 small nitpicks. Go for it.
I gotta cover. I have 3 cons, like I said. The first one that I talked about is the cup holder. The second one, I think this could use a boost paddle. I think all EVs could use a boost paddle because 99% of the time you're riding around in efficient mode trying to get the max range and everything. But every once in a while you want to feel something. You want to have all that power, overtake, merge on the highway, whatever you want to do. So it's nice to have the boost paddle that we had in, I believe, the i7. To unlock the full power for like 10 seconds. Yeah. That's all I need instead of toggling over to my modes and going into sport and whatever. So I think a boost paddle would be nice. And then the third thing, texted my BMW rep this morning. BMWs cannot currently charge at NACS or Tesla chargers as of right now. They should be able to later this year. We don't have final confirmation on when that will be. I'll probably get a text from Jeff like later today, like the second that we finish filming. Well, so maybe I'll put it on the screen.
You can put it right here,
yeah. So those are my only 3 cons, and 2 of them are really, really small. So with that said, I got a big tie a bow on it kind of statement. Are we ready for that?
I'm ready.
Or you got more to say?
No, hit it.
You ready?
Yeah, hit
It's a big statement.
Okay.
Here it comes. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it.
Okay, I'm ready. No, we're all waiting.
This is the best all-around EV that I think you can buy right now. There are other EVs that do things better. Styling, for instance. Or cup holder placement, for instance. Yeah. But this is, at least in our testing, in my opinion, this is the best culmination and combination of tech, safety, luxury, materials, build quality, performance, efficiency, like cargo, practicality, rear seat space, like everything. Yeah. This is so well done. And that's it. That's all I got. That's my big statement.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good place to end it.
So
you wrapped it up and summed it up.
That's perfectly. How you do it with a bow, guys. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you to Jeff and the BMW team for letting us have a go on the iX. This was a great time. The only thing that I want to do is do some cold weather testing. So we'll see if we can get that back, or this back again in the winter. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.